Welcome to JU Dolphins Up Close. I'm Scott Manzi. College coaches are constantly going back to the pipeline states, the areas in which they're able to recruit the most consistent talent. For JU men's soccer, that's a little bit different, as the pipeline states a little broader, and the talent has a little more international flair to it.
JU's men's soccer team features 13 players who originally hail from outside the United States. Having a coach in a similar situation certainly plays a factor.
Well, I think that just allows me to connect a little bit different with other cultures. The fact that I do speak Portuguese, but I also speak Spanish, and just being in Florida generally, you are able to connect with a lot of different cultures that are here in Florida, that are residents here, but they've migrated from different countries. So that's helped a little bit in the sense of being able to recruit different players.
13 of the 25 players are international, but that doesn't mean the coaching staff is racking up the frequent flyer miles.
Well, ironically enough, the Paraguayan player was recruited here in the U.S. The Brazilian players from a company recruited here in the U.S. as well. Colombian players also. The only two that were actually truly internationals were the two Canadian players, which in a sense is an extension of the U.S. because the systems are very similar.
I used to play for a company in Brazil called 2SV, and the company brings students to America to play soccer and other sports. So Mauricio knows the companies, so that he saw my video and recruit me.
Mauricio actually picked me up at a showcase tournament in Toronto, Canada, and so I came here for, I guess, a trial period, and I saw JU and I saw everything that it had to offer. The actual scenery is beautiful, the people here are very nice, and the actual academics part of it, it offered everything that I hoped for. So
I think just once again, the language of soccer just attracts people to be able to play to, and Florida is a melting pot of a lot of different cultures, certainly of Latin American cultures that migrate in here. So we're recruiting anybody that we feel that can give us a chance, regardless of where they're from. We're not putting all of our efforts to go internationally and recruit. Actually, we go internationally very limited. We just tend to attract the players from different countries for an opportunity. And really, the style that we want to play is a more international style. It's a style that attracts a lot of Latin American players.
JU, especially with Coach Mauricio, we try to play a very technical style of play, whereas a lot of other North American teams kind of play bump and run. I feel like we like to pass the ball around and play an attractive style for the fans.
my hometown club, it's very controlled, let's possess the ball and slowly as a team go forward. And Mauricio's team, of course, we embody the same sort of style. We like to keep it controlled. If it's not on, we'll turn back, but there's still that urgency to always score,
This is the style of play I prefer, honestly, I mean, it doesn't really matter in that sense as in what we do, because, I trust my coach wherever I go. If I can't trust my coach, I wouldn't go there. So, I just embraced what he did. It was what I prefer, and so it's been going well so far.
I think the American soccer is long balls and less technique, and I think Mauricio is trying to get this technique and these skills to JU. So I think we are a team that pass the ball a lot, that try to pass fast and try to improve some techniques, and I think that's the difference.
How do so many different cultures and personalities mesh into a cohesive team?
We're always different, listening to different types of music, I guess. The actual personalities, we all somehow have learned to mesh with one another, and you could kind of see on the field, we all embody the same sort of style, even though we're all from different places.
That's the beauty of the team, each country, a lot of different cultures, everybody trying to understand another culture. So all the time people are trying to learn Portuguese and trying to learn some stuff from Brazil, and I'm trying to learn some of the other cultures. So I think that's the beauty of the team.
It's a lot of fun because you do learn a lot from the teammates and from one another. Our coaching staff is is pretty diverse also, from just different cultures in different places. It does become challenging at times when you're trying to mesh and you're try to get everyone to fit into one culture and of doing one thing. But it does make for an interesting locker room.
We jab with each other all the time. It keeps us on our toes.
I think it's always a positive vibe in the locker room from day one. Yeah, the guys been really welcoming. It's always good banter for going around, different culture and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a good atmosphere.
The coaching staff has certain rules in place to keep everyone in a team-oriented atmosphere.
We try to keep a rule in our locker room that regardless of where you're from, you have to speak English, right? Because you don't want to excuse anybody out. I mean, you could be about 7 different languages spoken in our locker room at any given point if you allowed it to happen. So it's not that we're trying to close off other, the outside coaches from coming in, but you're trying to, it's in a sense of trying to get everyone to do the same thing, and at least in the locker room, everyone at least should speak the same language so no one feels left out at any given point. And certainly because these are American students, they have to speak English in our locker room. So you see a couple guys, spin off in Spanish and, in their Jamaican native language. But overall, you try to keep everybody feeling pretty comfortable as best as they can. And the American guys, they fit right in. They actually like the fact that they're learning different cultures as well in the process.
How do they deal with the culture change?
Well, honestly, we watch a lot of American television back home, so a lot of things are very similar. It wasn't that big of an adjustment in terms of the language and our approaches to stuff. We take a lot from America, so it wasn't a big deal.
With both AG and Sam, they're very close because, of course, when you come to a different place in the world, the culture is still different, their style, the way of talking. So you kind of have an outlet to communicate with, and HE's also been here for a year, so he kind of knows about the U.S. culture. So it's been good.
I always try to show people that I'm Brazilian. I think being Brazilian, it's part of my concept. So I'm always trying to show where I'm from, that I'm from Rio, that what I like to do in Brazil, that I speak Portuguese because people think that in Brazil we speak Brazilian.
Yeah, there's a Canadian player from last year who we hung out a few times in the summer, and a new one coming in for this year as well. So yeah, we formed a close bond, but everyone's pretty close around the team.
In the end, a love of soccer is the key component to blur all other lines.
The great thing about soccer, it's a universal language. It doesn't matter if you're fluent in English or fluent in Portuguese. Everyone seems like they're on the same page when the balls come out and start knocking about.
I don't think there's any sport that has that much interest from every single international country as soccer does. So I think, there's definitely an European feel to basketball and to women's volleyball, but I think soccer just has a different appeal and a different level of competition, in every other sport.
It's just the love for the sport, the passion. Everyone wants to play, everyone wants to do their best. I mean, just the overall drive to be good and to win brings most people together, I think.
One of the perks of living in Florida is that it's golf season all year round. One of the perks of playing college golf in Florida, the opportunity to compete at some of the finest venues in the country. JU Women's Golf has the pleasure of calling Sawgrass at TPC its home course, and this past week had the opportunity to host an event, the Jacksonville Classic, at another fine local venue, Marsh Landing.
We're very fortunate to be out here at Marsh Landing. I don't think at a normal course we would have gotten this in today with the weather that we had, the amount of rain we've had in the spring season here, or in the fall season. So they're able to have the staff to be able to get the course ready for us. It's a huge attraction for a lot of the teams. Florida State, they typically play in our spring event here. Couldn't make it in the spring, so they love the golf course so much that they wanted to come in the fall. So it's a big attraction for us and a great facility for us to be able to use.
I come from a small town in Indiana, so we have one golf course in our town and it's public and it's not super nice. So coming here and playing all these nice courses, you play better when you play courses like this because it's more fair. And I just like playing it because you get better and it prepares you for these other tournaments you go to, because most of the time these courses are harder than those. So you go to those and then they seem easier and then you play better.
If I was told as a recruit I was going to be able to practice and play at TPC Sawgrass, it would be a no-brainer for me. So it's a huge selling point for us. And it's great to have the PGA Tour right here in our backyards, LPGA Tour just down the road. So we're very fortunate. We're in a huge golf mecca in Jacksonville. So we have access to these courses on a weekly basis or a daily basis, but we have access to a lot more courses in the Jacksonville area. So there's a lot of support from the community.
It's different than anything I'm used to, and so when you go out to these like super nice courses like TPC, like the pros play there, and like it's just you go out there and you're like, wow, like I'm out here, and it just kind of helps you get in like this mindset, and you're like, yep, I'm a good golfer and I'm gonna practice good, play good, and it's just really cool.
When I was looking to go to college for golf, I was looking to stay in Indiana, not go far. And then when JU emailed me, they mentioned that TPC was their home course. So I wanted to come check it out, see how it was. And then we got here and I just like fell in love with everything. And then it was just like a dream come true because it can't get any better than TPC and the facilities and everything.
Coaches are always trying to establish relationships with their players. It's no different for head coach Kerwin-Kade with his quarterback. In this situation, it's unique, as the quarterback happens to be his son, Kade.
A father would always want to be a part of his son's recruiting process, unless your son is potentially coming to play for you, that is.
It was really funny. I got Coach Webb, Curry Webb, who recruited at Fleming Island High School. That was his school. So I sort of just left it up to Curry to recruit him and to talk with him, and I sort of try to stay back and stay out of the process because I really wanted him to truly decide where he wanted to go, and I didn't want to have any influence really other than just recruit him as a regular football player. And he looked at some different schools and had some opportunities at some other places, but then in the end he decided that if he wanted to play at the 1AA level, the FCS level, then he felt like this was going to be a great place to play and play in our offense and be able to be a part of what we're doing here.
My dad wouldn't recruit me when I was at JU, so Coach Webb was actually my recruiter, and my dad wouldn't recruit me at all. He said, Coach Webb, he's yours. So Coach Webb recruited me the whole time, and I told Dad that if I didn't get a bigger offer that even 1AA, that I'd want to come play for him.
In the end, a chance to flourish in an offense he was familiar with tipped the scales in favor of JU.
Yeah, it influenced me a lot, growing up in middle school, watching John Brantley play at Trinity Catholic, watching my dad coach him, and him being, an All-American, going to Florida, and watching that offense, the way they threw it around in high school, and then him coming to JU, and having Josh McGregor here for 4 years, and just watching them break records and have the best offense in the country. And I knew Josh was going to be a senior, so I knew I could come in and, compete right away as a redshirt and have a year to play as a freshman. So I thought that was one of the big reasons for me to know. Dad always told me, when you go to college, the things you want to remember are winning, championships, and playing. And I had other places I could have went that probably that didn't have really winning records when they were recruiting me and stuff. So I was thinking, JU, they're winning, and my dad's a big influence on. I want to be a coach one day, and his offense is so much fun just watching. So I want to learn it and learn everything about it. And I think that was one of the big reasons, watching what he did with Josh. And I'm glad that I've made the decision to come here for 4 years.
A redshirt year was valuable for Kade to learn from senior quarterback Josh McGregor.
Well, one funny thing Josh told me was he came over to the house one day and he was like, "How do you live with this guy?" And I thought it was really funny because I didn't really. He's the only time he coached me, and when I was little playing basketball. But we won every game for 4 years straight when he was coaching me in basketball. So I was like, he's real tough. But I didn't realize it was the way it is until I became a player for him. And when I came here as a freshman, Josh taught me a lot. He really told me how to grow up and really put focus in when it comes to watching film and what to look at, because he's really successful and a real smart guy when it comes on the football field, making the right decisions and stuff, and winning. So he taught me that, and how to kind of deal with Kerwin. Dad is he's real competitive and he wants to win. So sometimes you just got to keep your mouth shut and just let him rant. And that's what I've learned a lot from Josh. I think he's been a real influence on my career here at JU.
However, things weren't immediately rosy once Kade did win the starting job.
He's got a lot of me in him, his stubbornness and his will to win. He's such a competitor like I was and like I still am a little bit. but he got a lot of his mom's sort of happy-go-lucky. I was more of a serious guy when I was younger. He's more happy-go-lucky, so we've clashed in that area, especially when he was younger. You know, how do you practice? You know, how serious is it at practice? He sort of had the idea that it's just all about the game, and we had to really work with him about how serious you got to take practice and how you got to prepare yourself.
Growth is something both father and son have embraced over the last few years.
Got here, I think I was a 170 pound kid, you know, right out of high school. I think I put on some, you know, some weight and some muscle and some, and I give a lot of credit to Coach Bates in the weight room. And, you know, our weight room before he got here, man, we were nothing like we were. Than we are now. I mean, you know, we've gotten better every year when it comes to injuries and keeping people healthy and getting stronger and faster. So that's a lot with him and Doug for our nutrition guy, and they've really, you know, really helped us step up to where we need to be. And it's been, I just think I've changed a lot also mentally, you know, learning the game of football. I think I've always been smart when it comes to football, and I think just playing under Kerwin and learning what he knows. I mean, he's told me, I think he played under like 10 different, you know, coaches, offense coordinators in his career. So he knows stuff that works and how it doesn't work, and I think that's really helped me when it comes to playing on the field and, you know, trying to be a coach on the field. And I think that's why, you know, I think I've been successful here.
I've seen him just grow up tremendously as far as the way he approaches things now. Just his schoolwork, he's, you know, he'll graduate this fall, which I'm very proud of, and he's always been very serious about that. And then just the way he's matured as far as a player and going out and preparing for games, you know, during the week. He's always done well in the games. Now he learns how to, I think he's been so much better as far as the preparation before the game.
Now they can enjoy the unique experience.
After we got him into in a rhythm there in his freshman year, and he went to some places, like I said, at Dayton and won big, and he was able to lead our football team and some, you know, go to Charleston Southern, I believe, as a true freshman with 63 scholarships and beat those guys there. I think he started establishing himself as a true starter here in our league and for our football team. And you know, from that point on, when I knew he'd really taken over, and there was no doubt that we needed him in there as our starting quarterback, it's real rewarding to be able to have him be a part of what we're doing, have him be here and within our system, and see him flourish within our system, and also just watch him play. You know, it's a great. I get the front row seat every Saturday. And if he'd went somewhere else, I probably would have never got to see him play a down of football, not live, maybe on film. So it's been very rewarding in that regard.
Having also played quarterback, what similarities in Kade's game does Kerwin see?
Nothing. It's unusual. My other son, Colton, who's just went off to college, he's probably more like me. It's just about he didn't have my size, so he's at Ole Miss as a student, but when you watched him play, he had probably a lot of the things I had as far as a pocket guy, a good presence. Kade is more the guy who is totally opposite of me. It's really unusual. He's left-handed. He moves around so much better than I did. He can make plays a lot better with his feet than I ever possibly could. But maybe if you do go back to one thing, he has a great feel for the game. He's a very smart kid. And that's what I love. I demand so much out of my quarterbacks, and I put so much on their plate every week. I've figured out you got to have a very smart kid to play in my system, and McGregor was that. John Brantley was that back at Trinity Catholic. Kade is surely that. I mean, they can come in with 20 new plays and be able to go perform on Saturday. And he just has that innate ability to have a great feel for the game, sort of like I did. And a lot of it is done cerebral as far as his approach to the game. He really cancels things out. He goes through his reads. And for the most part, he really thinks the way I do it when I call the game, and he goes through his reads just like I would.
What's next for the coach's son might not surprise anyone.
Just growing up, man, you know, I was one of them kids that just loved sports, and every time he'd watch film when he was playing or coaching at, you know, at Trinity Catholic in high school, I would always be sitting there right there watching it with him, and I just liked every little bit of the game when it comes to the in and outs. The way our offense is ran, man, everything has to be, you know, spacing, and it has to be so perfect for it to work. And I think that really, you know, gives me a challenge. I really like the challenge of everything just being so exact and so perfect. And I just like that about the game. And I love the game of football. And also, you know, just the effects I've seen my dad's had on people's lives when it comes to, you know, college players and them, you know, growing up and, you know, and getting their degree. I think that's a big thing I've liked, to see people grow. I've came in with people that may not be as fortunate as I am, and I've seen them, you know, come through and finish college and do great things in life. and just see the impacts he's made on people's life. Like even our GAs, a couple of them that came here and played, Rudell Small and Leonard Smith, you know, they played here, and now they're trying to get into coaching with him, and my dad hired them, you know, to be GAs. So I think that's just a great thing that he's done in his life, and something I think I want to do.
What we've done here has been really rewarding to me, in that we've almost had the last 5 or 6 years since I've been here, a player, every one of them has graduated that wanted to get into coaching, and if we've had a spot available, we gave it to our guys. I just feel if a guy's really committed to coaching, you also have opportunity to pay for their masters, their graduate school, and it gives them the head start into the coaching business. And so we've been able to do that. We've got 3 guys now, former players, that are on staff as our GAs, and if he wants that opportunity and there's a spot available and he's going to take it seriously and he's really committed to it, then yeah, we'll give him a chance. We'll give him a chance like we do all our other players, and hope for the best. He has that ability. Now is he willing to put in the effort and the time and work hard at it? That's what I told him. You know, a lot of people know the game. It's a matter of how much you want to dive into it and commit yourself to it to being a great coach. And so, but I look for him to have being something involved in athletics. He reminds me in that area so much of me. Everything in his life's been about athletics, every minute of the day. And I was sort of that same deal, and probably still am as a 50-year-old. So he took a lot of that after me, and I really believe he's going to be happy in doing something in athletics.
Thank you for watching JU Dolphins Up Close. I'm Scott Manzi. Until next time, bidding you good night.